아까 그 다큐 같은 거 있거든요? 뭐지? 내가 안 깬 게 있나? 이거 안 깼어. 중간에 잘리지 않을까?
One of the things I think a lot of people need to understand is we aren't a museum piece. The Inupiaq people are a living people and a living culture. Even though we're in northern Alaska, which covers this vast area from Nome all the way over the Canadian border, is that there's this extreme value of interconnectedness and interdependence.
It's a hunting society, a gathering society from thousands of years.
This is what creates our culture.
That special relationship between humans and the natural world and the animals.
아까 그 고인가?
It teaches you how to have a society that doesn't do too much harm to the world.
Love and respect for nature, for one another, for our elders. Very, very fundamental value, key to life.
Our values are something that bind us all. The importance of sharing with one another, the importance of spirituality, and the connection to the land, our traditions, how we hunt, sharing of stories and songs and dances.
아까 그 북인가 보다.
I'm from the Arctic Ocean.
I am Inupiaq.
It's very important to me. It's who I am as a person.
And we're very proud of who we are, and we want to continue that.
It'd be busy, busy, busy all through the day. You get up and you just go right to work, you know? Right to work.
근데 이 사람들 현재 지금 북극에 살고 있는 사람들인가?
Idle time. The only idle time we had was after we eat and before we go to bed.
One of the older people would just be relaxing, laying down there and saying, you know, it'd be really nice to hear a story. And then just
이 사람들이 취재를 갔던 사람들인 것 같아요. 뭔가 북극에 살았다고 하기엔 고생한 흔적이 없어.
People is very important because it not only created that sense of community, but is a way to pass on wisdom to the next generation.
It was like TV, you know? It was just like, it was as good as anything, any movie you've ever seen. And the storyteller told it so clearly that it was just as powerful as any of the greatest movie blockbusters you've ever seen.
There was a reason behind the stories that we were told because they held traditional knowledge. They held things that we might need to know in life, whether it was about how to find food or how to survive, or it was about well-being and the importance of connecting with people and
아니 저 애보다 너무 세련된데?
We all do stories. We all live in stories. We all tell stories to our friends. And they need to be told. They need to be heard.
아 옛날 얘기하는 것 같다고. 자기가 옛날에 도시에 오기 전에 북극에 살았을 때
So scrimshaw is this really beautiful method of art that's done either on baleen or ivory, and traditionally it was used to tell stories.
Each etching is telling a story of some event. Caribou hunting was taking place. This is what was going on. War began around this time, and so it sort of gives you a timeline.
아 우리가 봤던 게 다 조각인가 봐. 아까 전에 이게 그림으로 봤던 거. 와 조각 되게 잘 새긴다.
They're like reading a book, in a way.
A lot of the storytelling traditions would be things that after the storytelling was done, we just rely on the next person telling it. And so scrimshaw is a very important way for Alaskan Native people to record their history.
아 보강영 아까 봤는데 그죠?
When I was growing up, my grandpa had a pet white fox. If you're a good friend with the
귀여우니까.
fox, when there's danger abound,
귀여우니까
they
한번
try
더 봐.
to keep you from getting into trouble. They're
원래는 영혼이 저 여우였는데 그죠?
Foxes are like spoiled little kids in that way. When you let her out, she'd go prancing out in the snow, jumping in the air. I know she was happy then. Come running at me and jump on my chest, knock me backwards, lick my face.
강아지처럼 키웠겠다. 강아지는 못 키우니까.
So that was my memory of my grandpa's pet fox.
Caribou it provided for us in many ways.
Our clothing in those days was made of all caribou skin.
I grew up wearing caribou bands, mittens, caribou skin mattress, blankets.
Some people had boots that were made with wolf leggings, sealskin sole bottoms. Baleen was shaved to make insoles. They kept us quite dry and warm as well. But the caribou skin clothing was the best. We would get as many yearlings as we could for our outer clothing. And for heavy winter, we would get caribou in February or March because the hair was the longest and the skin was the thickest.
근데 저 에스키모 옷은 진짜 귀여운 것 같아요. 여기 동그랗게 아예.
You could sleep outside in 50 below and it wouldn't bother you a bit.
영하 50도에서 자면서 자도 끄떡이 없대요. Silla?
Silla is the weather. It also means the atmosphere. Here's the Nuna, or the land. And it's anything from the land into the moon, the sun, the stars. That's Silla.
It's a very spiritual, and we have a relationship with Silla. Silla has a soul in the same way we do as people, in the same way animals do.
I think spirit helpers in and of themselves are really about how we're connected with things. And so it may be that there is a spirit helper that shows themselves as a bird to show you the way home, or it may be a spirit helper that actually decides to show themselves with the face and body of a man instead of their animal form. And so I think one of the things that's hard to understand is that it's not one way of seeing things, it's one way of knowing you're connected to everything.
부엉이도 신난가 봐.
Spirituality of everything around us.
It's the interaction you have with the air you breathe, the ocean that you gather resources from, the rivers from which you gather fish, the tundra from which you pick berries, the animals that give themselves. It's all of that.
In the winter, when we were traveling, we didn't build sod houses, we built snow houses. In Canada, they call them igloo, but here in Alaska, we call them apuya. We'd do a day of travel, and then we'd make a apuya. The next day, my father would set traps, spend the day there, rest the dogs, give them something to eat, and then the following day, we continue to the next place.
아프야?
We'd go to my dad's sister, who had a house at the bottom. They had a small sod house over there. We didn't have to do anything. We just visit with them.
근데 이걸로가 막 얼음으로 만들지는 않았네요. 저 집이 얼음 같아 보이진 않는데. 사냥한 것 봐.
Our home, my father would leave us with our aunt or with my grandmother, and then he start on his trips and go check his trap line. We were not into 8 to 5 kind of time, you know. We're in a totally different kind. We're in ecological time.
drum is something that's common to all cultures in Alaska. All cultures have a drum that may have some stylistic differences or differences in the materials that it's made, but it's still a recognition of life and vitality, and the drum mirrors the heartbeat, and when you continue drumming soon it will be in line with your heartbeat. So that's what it's supposed to be, the heartbeat.
오빠 강남스타일. 오빠 강남스타일.
And it's the most tremendous feeling to be in a room and to have one long row of all the drummers and to have that feeling of unity and everyone beating in harmony, the drum beat in unison. It's the most beautiful feeling. And to know that you're connected, you're on the land that you are connected to. And even if you grew up outside the community, that which is in you comes from this area. And it's the greatest feeling.
Man, I went at it and look what happens.
아, 이걸 못 깼어, 작은 사람들. 이게 진짜 있는 거야, 볼라가.
The bola is what we call kilamitan. And the kilamitan is made out of braided sinew tied out to some heavy bone which you could twirl. In my case, we're catching ducks.
When we're out whaling, sometimes the ducks start flying. And they're good for duck hunting. You know, if you're a whaling crew, you can't make too much noise. So you can't use a shotgun for getting some duck soup handy, you know. So bolo was a really handy weapon to use for catching ducks. You know, the ducks fly in, you throw it up and tangles up the bird, and down they go.
그냥 돌 던지는 거랑 다르게 볼라를 던지면 그 돌아가면서 하니까 뭐 다리나 이렇게 뭔가를 휘감아서 아예 못 움직이게까지 하는구나. 약간 그걸 뭐라고 하죠? 망치 같은 건데 이렇게 쇠에 달린 거. 그거랑 그물이랑 합쳐진 약간 그런 느낌? 아, 요요도 사근왕류 보였어요?
I was 12 years old. We floated out on a piece of ice while we were duck hunting. It was a bluebird day, just clear blue skies. And there was 3 of us, myself, my brother, and my dad. Next thing you know, we see this dark, dark shadow on the ice. We look and it goes behind us. So we all jumped up, startled, and my dad, he started running. We got back to the ridge there. The ice had fractured, cracked, and broke off, and we were floating away. We were drifting. It was close enough to where my dad would have made it. He stopped and he thought about throwing us across, and if one of us was on the other side, we would be split up. So he stopped, and he just so happened to have a cell phone on him. 911 didn't pick up. That's the worst feeling in the world right there. 911 did not pick up. So he left a message because they record their calls. Once he had relayed that information, his cell phone died. That was the scariest.
전화를 안 받은 게 아니고 못 받은 거 아닐까요?
Left for dead.
설마 전화를 안 받았겠어? 북극에서 온 줄 아니까 안 받아야지 이랬겠어?
He's bringing out everything positive.
막 전파가 안 터졌거나 그런 게 아닐까요?
Brothers freaking out. It went from clear blue to dense fog.
그러니까 전파가 약해서.
The chopper flying around, so they must have gotten our message. We thought we were saved.
그러니까.
And then the chopper sound went away. So we lit some of the sled on fire. It's plastic. We thought black smoke in the fog would create some kind of marker.
썰미까지.
Chopper pilot had mentioned
when we got rescued. You could see a glow in the fog, and he slowed down there, and sure enough, as soon as he slowed down, we got within visual. That was definitely the scariest moment of my life, was floating away and not knowing what the outcome was going to be.
We're very much aware of the climate change, and it's been for many years, even before climatologists were noticing the change. Inuit were already saying, "Sila alan moktok." Our climate is changing.
If the heat is going the way it is right now, for us it's going to be pretty bad. Different birds are coming, and they're coming earlier, and sometimes rain is more than what we want, because when there's more rain, we know it's going to melt the permafrost.
In my time as a young whaler, when I was 9 years old, we're hunting from ice that was about 25 feet thick. And there was giant icebergs already floating, coming by. That was the first signs of a changing climate. Ice that never broke before was now moving. Now, here it is 50 years later, we're hunting whale from ice that's 18 inches thick. There's no more thick ice.
It's creating a malfunction in our whaling season, is what it is. Actually, more than that, all seasons in general.
그러게.
I think we are more scientists than more people will realize. We have more knowledge of those things than people will ever know.
이건 더 웃겠네. 생활 양식.
In, Arctic Alaska, hunting is a really important part of life. It's not just about going and shooting something, it's about going and putting food on the table. But more importantly, subsistence hunting isn't just about the insular family unit, it's about feeding the whole community. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about subsistence hunting in Alaska is that people go out and they'll go get, fish, or they'll get a caribou, and they'll get, seals and whales. And one of the first things they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, I need to take this to the elders." This isn't just about one individual surviving or one family surviving, it's about the whole community.
We didn't just go out and kill and put in a freezer. It's like a ritual that
아우,
learned from
깜짝이야.
my parents.
It's all about relationship. I don't know. I think there's a lot of camaraderie involved, and just being out on the land or being out on the ocean. It's like getting back in tune.
I'd rather be out there. To me, once I go out there, it's the world that I learn from.
Now we spend all our time out in nature. You get very intimate with the world. And over time, if you're living that life, you start to sense that everything has a spirit. There's a consciousness in everything. Everything is alive. If everything is alive, then we want to respect it. And if we're going to use it, we want to use it respectfully.
What I try to tell my nephews and nieces, you love to hunt, you have to take care of the animals that you catch, preparing the food and eating the food that you catch.
Water provides you. The ice brings you life. It provides all those things that you need to be a part of your life.
That was something I grew up with. I grew up respecting the animals. I grew up respecting the land. And that, to me, that is why we as Inuit, as an Inuit culture, as an Inuit people, is why we're so successful.
아, 이것도 못 열었네.
Big Diomede, Little Diomede, and King Island. And in those three islands are the stepping stones to get to America.
So King Island is this absolutely beautiful place off the coast of Alaska. And if you can imagine being on this really kind of rocky island that kind of shoots up from the water to these cliffs, and then all of a sudden you see these stilts, and then you look up and there are these houses.
They were built on the cliff of
와, 되게 아찔하게 지어져 있다, 집들이.
Being an island in the Bering Sea,
나무 그냥 바람 불면 쓰러질 것 같은데.
onto the island, so it's going to pile up 50, 60 feet high. Structures are still there today, and people have returned to King Island. It's a growing community as the people return back to their island.
저게 진짜 오로라인가?
I was young.
컴퓨터 그래픽인가?
Whenever the
CG?
Northern Lights came out, she just whistle.
Boy, they come alive. Just keep whistling and that aurora will just like, you know, you can almost hear it.
And then she explained to me a little bit later that those are children, and children who've passed away when they were children. You don't want to draw them in too much, you know, is what she said, because then they could play football with your head, play Eskimo football, and that's what they want to do. They're always playing, those children up there.
Don't play out without your hood on. If you don't have your hood on, the aurora person is going to come down and chop your head off and play ball with your head.
It wasn't like they were trying to do bad, you know, or it was like a scary story or anything like that. It was just that's how it was. That's what it was.
내가 찍은 달이랑 비슷한 것 같기도 하고.
In the month of November, there's no sun. So during that dark time, we travel by the light of the moon. It's quite different. Everything was silver and black. Toward the horizon, we could see where caribou are because their body heat flowing upward, and we could see it glowing in the moonlight against a dark horizon where there's no stars. If somebody yelled, you could know who yelled from where the sound came from, but specifically where that cloud of their breath went up and it glowed in the moonlight. So that was a good time to travel. It was very surrealistic. And so things that were dark objects look very close, and white objects look very far.
많이 안 남았네. 아, 눈 봐봐. 너무 귀엽잖아.
That there's no hierarchy. It's not everything else and then man, you know, humans on top, and they're separate from everything. We're taught that everything is equal, and that all the animals have a human form or can be seen in a human form, and so they have just as much or more intelligence.
도둑님 안녕하세요.
Have a lot to teach people, and so
아,
that's
귀여워.
how.
눈은 곰이 훨씬 귀엽다 여우보다, 그죠?
If the animal wants you to see it in its human form, there's a story where a man comes up to an ice hole, and then there realizes there's another man in his parka that's got stuck in the net, you know, and is just stuck like that. Oh, can you let me out? Please help me, you know. And so then he lets the man
이게
out.
게임에 포함된 다큐예요. 그래서 게임을 지금 켜낭을 했고 왕까지 깨가지고 다큐 보고 있어요.
Seal wanted that help. That seal allowed itself to be seen in human form.
게임 영상 이제 아마 이걸 이제 이게 이제 이누이트족을 취재한 다큐인데 이 다큐를 취재하면서 이제 영감을 받아서 게임을 만든 것 같아요. 이거에 대해서.
The recurring type of character in Inupiaq stories is the manslayer. And the manslayer is kind of this bad guy. And I think really what's at risk when the
마법사인 걸로.
manslayer comes into the story is the livelihood of
25살까지
individuals and the
긍정.
whole community. And so the manslayer is really used as a way to say, don't act only for yourself. Always hold the community in your heart. Oftentimes in these stories, there is one person that will stand up.
And what this humble person will represent, who faces that manslayer, is a return to order, a return to true living in the community. And it just takes that one person. It could just be that one person that can help to change everything. Because everyone wants to live a good life. Everyone wants to have a good community.
나는 살인마에 대해서 조금만 더 잘 나왔으면 좋겠는데 되게 짧게 지나가네. 살인마는.
With the story of
예를 들면서
told by Robert
마지막
Gibbons,
이야기네요.
It's just a masterwork. It's a well-known story among the Inupiaq people, and in our case, of producing a video game that really reflects indigenous heritage. It captures the imagination, and it's something that you have a very specific kind of task to do. But there's a blizzard, you know, and it is just a non-stop blizzard that is overpowering the people, and there's one man that wants to figure it out. And in our case of the story, it's a girl that wants to find the source of that blizzard. The blizzard man, it's like that is the physical embodiment of an element of nature. And so there's a person that needs to go up and take away that adze, that's chipping away that snow.
In that community, the person least expected is the one who stands up and makes the difference.
Humility is something that we value, and where that comes from is the idea that you are not the biggest thing in the world. And when you live in an extreme environment like where the Inuit reside, you're at the whim of the environment, of the climate, of the animals. You can be as prepared as you can, you know, by learning from your elders that, you know, you're not the biggest force in the world.
아, 여기서 좀 실망했어. 뭔가 이 여자가 블리자드 같아 보이네. 여튼 다시 좀 플레이하기는 그렇고 약간 뭔가 진짜 힐링이 될 것 같은 그런. 근데 못 봐요. 못 봐. 나머지는 포네님이 게임 갖고 계시니까 다 보시고. 약간 내용은 그냥 그래요. 그러니까 막 솔직히 게임 스토리가 막 엄청나게 특이하거나 특별하거나 그렇진 않아. 근데 이런 BGM이라든지 그래픽이 되게 좋아요. 되게 약간 대충이면서도 섬세하고 또 섬세하지만 너무 막 그렇진 않아. 너무 섬세해서 막 게임 하는데 하나하나 걸리적거리고 그렇지는 않아요. 스토리는 별 3개 반, 그래픽은 별 4개 반, 그리고 전체적으로는 그래서 별 4개? 나 좀 후한가? 여튼 그랬습니다. 재밌게 플레이했네요. 끝!